Don't be dramatic, David. It's just one night with my boss, the man I've dreamt about since our marriage. My wife said, she said with a half laugh, the kind of tone people use when they're joking, except her eyes didn't match her words. They were steady, deliberate testing. And I said, okay. That one word tasted like acid. She waited for me to react, maybe to shout, to accuse, to beg. But I just nodded and walked out of the room. Because sometimes silence screams louder than anything. We've been married for 8 years. Emma and I met in college, broke and idealistic. She studied marketing. I studied architecture. We dreamed of building a life together, literally and figuratively. We had our small apartment, our late-night ramen dinners, our laughter in the dark. But time, as it always does, wore things down. Her job took off faster than mine. Promotions, late meetings, new dresses I hadn't seen before, perfume that lingered like a stranger's breath. And then there was him, Marcus Hale, her CEO, charismatic, powerful, the kind of man who made people feel small without meaning to. I saw the way she looked at him at company events. I pretended not to. Love makes you blind, but pride keeps you quiet. The night she said those words, that she wanted one night with him, something in me broke, but not in the way I expected. There was no storm, no shouting, just a calm emptiness. I told her, okay, because I wanted to see if she'd still go through with it, to see if there was anything left in her to stop herself. She didn't. She left that evening wearing a dress I'd never seen before. She didn't look back. I sat in the dark for hours. Every tick of the clock was a heartbeat I could no longer trust. Around midnight, I finally went to bed. The sheets smelled like her perfume. It made me sick. The next morning, the phone rang. I ignored it the first 2 times, but on the third, I picked up. It was her lover, the CEO, Marcus Hale. He wasn't calm or confident. He was screaming. "Where is she?" he shouted. My mind went blank. "What are you talking about?" "She left my place last night around 3. She said she was driving home. I can't find her. Her car's gone. David, The line cut out. The next hours were a blur. Police, roads, calls that went unanswered. By noon, they found her car off the highway, down an embankment, wrapped around a guardrail. The impact had killed her instantly. They said it looked like she'd been driving fast, maybe tired, maybe crying. I never asked for details. At the hospital, I stared at her body, pale, peaceful, almost unreal. She looked like the woman I used to know, not the stranger who'd left for another man. Marcus came too, his perfect suit, his trembling hands. When he saw me, he stopped cold. His eyes were red. He wanted to speak, but I walked away. There were no words for what either of us had done. For weeks after, people called me brave. They said I handled it with grace. What they didn't see was the nights I sat in her closet, holding the last dress she wore, the scent of her still clinging to it. I went back to work, but everything felt hollow. Clients talked. I nodded. Friends asked. I lied. I told them I was healing. But what does healing even mean when the person who broke you is also the one who's gone forever? One evening, I got a letter. No return address. Inside, a folded sheet of paper in her handwriting. David, if you're reading this, I guess I'd make it home. I don't even know why I'm writing. Maybe because I need to confess something before it's too late. I told you I wanted one night with him because I wanted to hurt you. I wanted you to react, to fight for me, to make me feel like I still mattered to you. I didn't love him. Not really. He just reminded me of the part of you that used to dream, the part that smiled when life was still simple. I lost myself somewhere between your silence and my pride. If I don't come back, please remember me before the lies. Remember the girl who believed in you, in us. I'm sorry, Emma. I must have read that letter 100 times. Every line was a knife, soft, deliberate, merciless. I realized then that maybe she wasn't chasing another man. Maybe she was running from the quiet that had grown between us. The distance we both built, brick by brick, pretending not to notice. Grief does strange things. It makes you see your own reflection in the ruins. I had blamed her for betraying me, but I'd forgotten how many times I'd stopped showing up emotionally, mentally, as a partner. Still, knowing that didn't make it easier. I visit her grave sometimes. I bring white lilies. She always loved those. I sit and talk, not because I expect her to hear me, but because it makes me feel less like a ghost. Last week, Marcus came too. We didn't speak. We just stood there, two men bound by the same woman, the same guilt. When he left, he placed a single rose beside my lilies and whispered, "I'm sorry." I believed him. There's no villain in this story. Just two people who stopped understanding each other, and a world too fragile to handle the silence that followed. Every now and then, I dream of her, not the version who hurt me, but the girl from the campus cafe who laughed when I spilled coffee on her notes. She smiles, waves, and walks away. And I wake up feeling both full and empty at once. People say time heals everything. I don't think that's true. Time doesn't heal, it teaches. It teaches you how to live with ghosts. And every morning when the sun hits her side of the bed, I whisper the same word I said that night. Okay? But now it doesn't mean permission. It means goodbye.